Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today we are renovating another one of the apartments in my Britechester townhouse. I know I've been working on this for quite some time now. It has actually no business taking me that long. We are only at apartment number 4 right now, so there are 2 more to go. I know it's really been months since I started working on this, but I hope to be finished soon with all the apartments, and then I can hopefully finally share the whole apartment building. Again, the empty version is already up on the gallery if you're interested in that one. But yeah, today we are doing a cozy apartment for a single mom and her daughter. And yeah, I'm aware I already did a cozy single mom tiny house not too long ago, and I already made jokes about it back then because we have all seen this before. Um, so yeah, definitely not super original. Like, there's nothing wrong with that theme, obviously, but it is very, very present on Sims YouTube or among Sims for speed builds. So I probably would have preferred to do something else for this apartment, but it ended up being another single mom apartment. Again, I don't hate this theme or anything, it's just that it's, especially in this particular style or in this vibe, I think that is something that there's just been a lot of on YouTube. Now, the thing with this apartment building was that I started working on it a very long time ago before for rent was even announced. So, well, back then, I created the apartments and I had a certain idea about the people I wanted to live in this apartment. And I kind of wanted to have 3 apartments with only 1 person living in there. And then I wanted to have the caretaker's apartment with the cat. And I imagined to have like 1 apartment in a basement with 2 students. And then in this apartment right here that I'm furnishing right now, I wanted to have a small family, like a family of 3, 2 parents and 1 child. And then it occurred to me that this wouldn't be possible because we're obviously limited to have 8 Sims per household. And again, this was long before For Rent came out, before it was even announced. So I didn't know that we would have rental lot types, that there would be the possibility to have more units on one lot and to have more Sims on one lot. So I thought I would have to restrict the number of Sims living here and had to change my concept for this build. And so I decided that even in the second basement apartment, which I haven't furnished right now, but I decided to have only 1 Sim living in there. And then here I decided to have just 1 parent and a child. And obviously it could have also been a single dad or a single grandparent raising a grandchild or whatever, but it turned out to be another single mom's apartment. Because, as I mentioned before, the backstories for the tenants of this apartment building kind of took a life on their own, so I came up with way too much lore for them, and so pretty fast I had kind of a precise idea about the family living here. Well, not really precise, but I had a story in mind, and very fast I was really settled on this idea of making this for a single mom and her child. So yeah, that was about this. I'm again not really talking about what I'm doing in this apartment right now, but I'll be talking about it a little bit later because I feel that to talk about the style of this apartment, I also need to explain the story of the Sims living here. So I think I just dive right into that. So again, it's for a single mom and her daughter. And the mom, her name is Jeannie. She got pregnant very young. So she got pregnant when she was still a teen or kind of a teen herself. She was like 17, so I imagined. And her boyfriend back then really wasn't interested in raising a child, so he didn't really understand why she wanted to have the child. And she didn't really want to have it. It was just very late when she realized that she was pregnant, and then she didn't really have a choice than to go for it. And yeah, her boyfriend left her. He really didn't want to be a dad at that young age. Her family also wasn't super supportive of her because, yeah, they thought that she had been acting careless and thoughtless, and it was like her own fault that she got pregnant. So they didn't really help her a lot. They supported her financially a little bit and helped her getting a place to stay and everything, but they really were no support emotionally, and she doesn't have a really good relationship to her own family. So she basically had to raise this child on her own, and it was really hard for her because she had a little bit of financial support from her family, but not a lot. So she also had to find a way to make ends meet. And I imagined that before she lived in this apartment here, she lived in another place that was a little bit cheaper, but also in a not very good part of the town. And she didn't really like it there. And she could convince one of her family members to help her get out of there, and they helped her to get this apartment here. But that was pretty much all they did for her, so again, she was left on her own. This apartment is a little bit more expensive than the place that she lived before, and it is even harder for her to make ends meet and to pay the rent, but she really would do anything for her daughter to grow up in a good environment and go to a good school, and this part of the town really seemed fitting for her, and she also really loved this beautiful old townhouse and the whole atmosphere of this place, so she was very happy that she could move in there. Also, the apartment building is a little bit rundown, so it is not super expensive even though it's in the old town of Britechester, but like it's still not very easy for her to finance everything. Now, her daughter is called Elsa, and she's about 7 years old right now. That means that Jeannie is about 24 at this point, so she's still very young. However, she's gone through a lot in her life already. And she wanted Jeannie to grow up in a good environment and also to have a really nice and cozy home. But yeah, she has this really limited budget, so she had to find a way to work with this not so great amount of money and find a solution to still make this home very cozy and inviting and very cheerful, and this is what she turned it into. So right now you see me decorating the bookshelf in the living area, and I imagined it was a custom-made bookshelf that Jeannie probably made herself. That is like a recurring theme in this apartment, and I will talk about it more in detail a bit later. Now, for the color scheme of this apartment, I went with like light beige, white, and red, somewhat strawberry and cream inspired, because yeah, I just wanted it to feel very cheerful, colorful, and a very happy place. I know red for interior design is kind of a questionable choice. I know many people don't like it, and I'm also not necessarily a fan of it because red can easily become really overwhelming and too much. Yeah, but I think if the right balance and the right degree is kept, it can look kind of nice. I think in this apartment it looks nice in my personal opinion. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Do you like it, or do you think it's too much and overwhelming maybe? But yeah, I think in this apartment it kind of works. It's still not something that I would do in my own apartment because for me that's still a little bit too much color, too much red. It's a little bit too busy, but I think here it works pretty nicely. Now, what I also placed in all of the apartment were these star-shaped fairy lights that I put over the bookshelf, for example. I went with it peachy orange and white swatch because I think it looked very nice. So the whole apartment, apart from the white and red, it also has these slightly orange pink tones, so it's also very girly, I would say. And I thought that Jeannie maybe bought like a whole box of these fairy lights and put them around all of the apartment. And generally the whole idea I had for the furnishings was that it is furnished on a budget, but you don't necessarily see this by looking at the interior. So I thought that Jeannie was just really good at making cheap things that don't necessarily belong together, look like they match and that everything is just made for space. So I thought she was just very resourceful, very creative in making everything fit together, in customizing her space. And I thought that maybe the furniture is mainly from IKEA, so very cheap stuff. That's also why I went with a lot of these light wood tones, because this is just typically what I associate with IKEA furniture. I also went with a lot of furniture that doesn't really match, like in the living area you saw me placing like the Space Game couch, but then I also used that red chair from Paranormal Stuff, I think. And apart from buying stuff at IKEA, she also thrifted stuff, she got it secondhand, but then she polished it up if it was a little bit older, so like maybe the TV stand or whatever, maybe that was like an older piece of furniture that she revamped or cleaned up. Maybe she repainted some of the furniture. For example, in the dining area, I used that table also from Paranormal Stuff, which is red, and I thought that maybe she painted this herself to make it match with the other red interior objects. Then she also put this very colorful tablecloth on it to just make it look nice and very happy. And she is just very handy, and because I created the Sims 40's apartment, and you can also download them from the gallery, I gave Jeannie a pretty high handiness skill because I thought that she was really good at woodworking, at polishing, revamping old furniture, and that she, in this way, managed to use the limited amount of money she had and the cheap new stuff and the stuff she got secondhand to create a space that really looks cohesive and it really looks welcoming and as if everything was just in the space where it's supposed to be, and to, I don't know, to hide the fact that it's actually something created with limited funds and that it's actually something she had to create out of necessity so that she didn't have unlimited possibilities, if that makes sense. I feel that I again do a horrible job in explaining this, but I hope it somewhat comes across. So yeah, it really doesn't look as if it was a cheap space, and this is just because she's really passionate about making this a cozy space. She's very, as I said, creative with working with different stuff. She's resourceful. She knows how to make the best out of her situation, and she does all of this, of course, also for herself, but also because she really wants to give Elsa a beautiful childhood home and to make sure that she's not missing out on anything and that she really does feel at ease at home and that she does feel comfortable. And Elsa really does feel very happy. She's a very cheerful child. She loves her mom, and Jeannie absolutely adores her daughter, although she didn't really want to be a mom at that young age and she didn't plan to get a child at that young age of her. Elsa really has become the most important person in her life, and she would really do anything for her daughter, and it's so important for her that she has, yeah, just a lovely and beautiful home. So we are already in the kids' room, in Elsa's room, and in here I didn't really stick to the color scheme of the rest of the apartment because that's obviously not something that makes a lot of sense for a kids' room. So in here I went way more colorful, and I also placed a lot of children's paintings and drawings on the walls because I just thought it might be one of Elsa's favorite hobbies to have. And for this reason I also swapped the desk that I placed at first out with a drawing table. It is somewhat annoying to me that in The Sims you need a separate table for like every single activity, like for children to draw, but also to play cards and play chess and things like that. It doesn't make it easy to place a lot of skill building items in an apartment, but I thought that she could do her homework on the dining table in the main living area, and so I decided to put the children's drawing table here. I went with the one from Eco Lifestyle because I have never used it before, and the stuff from Eco Lifestyle really gives this idea of being handmade and crafted, yeah, DIY stuff that you made on your own, and that really fit with the theme that I had for this apartment and the story that I had in mind. That's also why I used that cardboard dollhouse that I placed at the end of the bed. I had to size it down, obviously, because the Sims 4 dollhouses are ginormous, but they still work if they are not sized down more than twice. So I also playtested it and was still working. And I went with very bright colors because I just thought that Elsa was this very cheerful child. She's also an animal lover. That's why I placed lots of posters and just wall decoration with an animal theme. I also thought that because in the ground floor apartment of this apartment building, we have the caretaker living with the cat, and I also really thought that she adores this cat and she really, really loves cats, and that's why I put this cat poster from Cats and Dogs at the head of the bed. Probably she would like to have a cat on her own, but they cannot really do this, mostly because they don't have the money for this right now. But yeah, she really loves animals, and I put a lot of animal related stuff into that room. I also placed many of the paintings that Sims can actually paint or draw in-game, like Sims children. For that, which you probably already noticed, I placed a wall full of these paintings that I saved to my library in the basement of this apartment building. And yeah, I'm always going down and up again to drag these paintings into this apartment, which I know is a little bit annoying to watch, but I didn't really have space to place this wall of drawings anywhere else on this lot. So yeah, I had to place it in the basement, and I know it's a little bit annoying to watch in this sped up footage, but yeah, I didn't really know how else to do it. And yeah, I wanted to use these paintings or these drawings as a decoration because we do not have a lot of children's drawings in the regular wall art by catalog. So yeah, it seemed like a good solution. And generally, I really like the idea that Elsa has also this creative streak of her mom. So yeah, I thought it was a cute idea. And I also like the thought that Jeannie and Elsa probably do a lot of creative stuff together, a lot of DIY stuff and drawing and things like that, because they really share the same interest. If Jeannie has time, because as I said, they have some financial struggles, and I thought that Jeannie probably has to work more than one job to make ends meet. And in The Sims, we cannot really do this. So what I did was that I gave her 2 part-time jobs. I think she works as a shop assistant and a barista. So in The Sims, it's not exactly a stressful situation, but I thought that in real life she probably would maybe do even more jobs or maybe work double shifts and everything just to afford this apartment and everything they need for life. And because of this, Jeannie is also very stressed and doesn't have a lot of time for herself, because if she has free time, she likes to spend it with her daughter and really likes to be there for her. And she tends to kind of neglect her own needs and her own need for free time and to do something that she wants to do only for herself. And therefore, at this point where the story that I had in mind for this apartment building, like at the point where this story starts, she feels very burned out and exhausted, and she really tries to hide this from Elsa. She also doesn't want Elsa to know that they have these financial struggles, and she really wants to make it seem like everything's okay and there's nothing to worry about, but that's not exactly the case. So she has these difficulties with money, and as I said, she's also stressed. She hasn't taken a lot of care of herself because she had so much going on. And while she really loves to be a mom for Elsa, there are also many things in her life that she couldn't do because of her specific situation that other people in her age would have done. Like studying, for example. Like she wanted to go to university, but she couldn't because she had to earn money to take care of her daughter. And also other things, like just to have fun, to be a little bit carefree, to go to parties, to go traveling, to find yourself. And she didn't really have time for anything of that. And she sometimes feels she's missing out on a lot of things. And she sometimes feels like not regret, because she doesn't regret having Elsa, but she feels a little bit empty sometimes. And she's sometimes kind of feeling depressed. And as I said, she's trying to not show this to her daughter, but yeah, at this point, she cannot always hide it. And Elsa is starting to realize that there's something a little bit off. And although she's a very young child, she has this feeling that not everything is as perfect as Jeannie really tries to make it seem. Wow, that was again another very long backstory, and I feel I'm not even completely done yet. I don't want to make it even longer because I know I've been already going on your nerves for way too long. But about the relationships with the other tenants in this apartment, I thought that Jeannie and Elsa have kind of a really good relationship to the caretaker and also to the painter living on the top floor, because they are probably among the tenants that have lived in this building for the longest time and they just know each other. And the caretaker specifically has supported Jeannie a lot and is always there for her, always has some friendly words for her, and he really feels close to her. But then there's the student living in the apartment above Jeannie and Elsa. Like, we are here on the first floor apartment. He's living on the second floor, and he's one of the newest tenants in this building, and at first they really don't like each other. He's annoyed by Elsa because she sometimes, leaves her toys lying around in the staircase, and he just thinks she's annoying and loud, and he doesn't really like children, while Jeannie just feels that he's kind of very pretentious and arrogant, and at first they don't really have a good start, but yeah, maybe things will change over time. Who knows? Now, that really was it with the backstory. I'm trying to keep talking about what else is going on in this build, because I feel I really haven't talked that much about what I'm doing here. So yeah, let's take a closer look at it. So we are in Jeannie's bedroom right now, and I think it turned out really, really pretty. I especially love how the sunlight falls through the windows on the bed. It looks so gorgeous. And I think I also like the balance between the white, the light wood tones, and the red. Yeah, for the most part, I think I really love the result. And I think what I spent most of my time off was to actually build the custom desk area next to the closet, because it was kind of difficult to figure out what I wanted to do there. So I wanted to make this custom desk situation that looked like Jeannie has also built this herself on her own. And the problem was that I couldn't find anything that fit next to the closet that wasn't too wide. So when I used the shelf, it was too slim when I used it in the regular size. And when I sized it up once, it was already too wide for this area next to the closet. And I really didn't want to use the tool mod for this build because I haven't touched the mod for all of the other apartments, and I realized that I tend to use it a lot lately. It's really, if you've started to use this mod, it is super hard to not use it anymore because it's just so convenient, but at the same time, messing around with tool also tends to take up a lot of time, and sometimes you spend a lot of time on creating something and then in the end it doesn't work. So for this apartment build, I really didn't want to use this mod. So I had to find something else to use for this desk, and I found the shelves from base game, the white bathroom shelves, and they fit perfectly next to this closet. They had the perfect size, and they also have more storage space to them, so they seemed really fitting, and I could fit the laptop on shelf, so I placed the laptop on a counter and then sized the counter down, and then I hid the counter under this chest from the BasementTreasures kit. And yeah, it looked very nice, but one thing that I absolutely didn't think through, and I don't really know how that could go unnoticed, but yeah, obviously there's no space for your Sims legs. So either I absolutely didn't think of that, or I just thought that I could ignore it and that it wouldn't look that bad in gameplay. But later you'll see that I have my Sim playtest it, and you can really see her legs overlapping with the shelves, and it looks really, really stupid. And I definitely was too annoyed by this. So I had to redesign the entire desk area, and honestly, most of the time I spent with furnishing this bedroom, I spent with building this custom desk. And yeah, in the end, it turned out okay. And I decorated the desk to be a study area, but also some sort of vanity. So I put some makeup and bathroom clutter, like the hair dryer, in there because I just thought it would be something that she would keep in her bedroom because there's not a lot of space in the bathroom, and it seemed kind of fitting to put it in this space. But yeah, as you'll see in a second, things will not really work out with this first version of the desk that I built, and I'm going to redesign it. I'm not exactly sure when this is happening. I'm never in line with what is happening on screen. Oh, at first I placed this really cute basket from base game that looks like a fox or something because I wanted it to look like a laundry basket, but then I remembered that in all of the other apartments I had placed actual laundry bins. Because I also have laundry machines in a building, it made sense for all of the single households to have their own laundry bins. So in the end I swapped it out with one of the regular functional laundry bins. And here we are at the point where I have Ginny sitting down, and you see that her legs are kind of overlapping with the shelves, and it looked really dumb. And then at first I tried to redesign the desk by just using one single base game shelf, but then I had the issue that the counter that I had placed the laptop on was sticking through the wall into the kids' room, which I also didn't want. And what I did in the end with this desk situation was that I took some wooden planks out of base game debug. I raised them up to the height of the shelves, and then I put 3 of them there, and they had the perfect size. So this was exactly as wide, or almost exactly as wide as the closet was, and it fit perfectly as the desk area. I placed the laptop where it was, I placed the clutter where it was, there was space for everything, and I also decided to still put one of these Space Game white shelves on the left side of this desk because it also looks like it was supporting these wooden beams. So it looked somewhat realistic and looked still custom made. And I didn't place the shelf on the right side to just have some space for my Sims legs. I also replaced the chest that I used with a trash can because I usually always use trash cans to cover up these size down counters if I build a desk like this. That's a really cool way to create custom desks and to place your laptops in a space that looks very personal. It is still functional. However, if you want your Sims to use the laptop, you will have to have your Sims sit down on the chair first and then click on the laptop and choose an interaction, because I think otherwise they cannot use it. But yeah, it's still functional, so you just have to remember to have your Sims sit down before that. Another thing that I did with this shelf, and that I've also done on the fridge before, was to use some of these debug notes from Parenthood and place them on the walls, because I just think it's a realistic thing to have some little notes around the apartment. And I also found one of these photos from Parenthood, and I placed it there because this girl looks exactly like Elsa, or very similar to Elsa, which again, I created her in CAS, and she's like this little girl with a braid. So yeah, this girl on this photo looked very similar to her, and so it seemed like a good idea to place this photo on the wall. And apart from that, I just put some more bookshelves above the desk with obviously books, but also some clutter, which again could be something she made herself, that she crafted, but yeah, I mainly just thought that it was cute, so I think I used that box with the mushrooms from Werewolves, which looks really lovely, but I have never had any opportunity to use this before, so yeah, that was nice. And yeah, with that, we are almost finished with this bedroom. So this was the last room on the inside of the actual apartment, but I'm still going to decorate the windowsills and also the area in the staircase, because I thought they had some of their stuff out in the staircase, which is something I've seen in apartment buildings. So I have often seen people storing their shoes outside, like not in the apartment itself, but just on the outside in the corridor. So I think that's not an unusual thing. And I also thought that it would be nice for them to have some plants, so some actual working functional plants. Functional plants, that sounds so stupid, but you know what I mean. So herbs that they can harvest, and because there wasn't really space in the apartment, I put them out here. So if you have for rent and want to make actual rental units out of these apartments, the planters are in the shared space, but I don't think that's like a big problem. So the other tenants can just grow some herbs as well, so I don't think that they would have any problems with that. And well, with this, we are almost at the end of this video already. I know it's been a long one for an apartment renovation. I don't really know why that happened, but yeah, here we are. We're almost through. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It would be very much appreciated and would really help the channel to grow. If you have any suggestions, constructive criticism, ideas, or whatever, please leave it all in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you. If you are interested in this build, just have some more patience. It will be up as soon as all the single apartments are completely furnished. And yeah, you can also find all the information about the apartment building and the apartment itself in the description down below. You can find me on the gallery. My ID is LaTalpaVolante. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to be back very soon with a new video. In the meantime, have a great week. Happy Easter to all of you who celebrate. Stay safe, and bye!